I was blown away by this. There's a study out that says that among 20-somethings, that if you give them a choice between Twitter and Facebook and having sex, what do you think they're going to choose? On the line with us, Chelsea Krost. She's a lifestyle and millennial generation expert. Chelsea, welcome to KDKA.
Hi there. How are you today?
I'm just fine. I understand you have a TV show. You've got a radio show of your own called the Chelsea Krost Show.
I do.
Okay, and you're a 20-something.
I'm 21 years old.
Yeah.
I love what you said. Who needs politics? Let's talk about sex.
Yeah, I know. I mean, because somebody wrote to me on an email message, or a instant access message a little earlier, because we were talking about the debate, and they said, "Well, how come you're always talking about politics?" Well, actually, we don't. And I said we're going to talk about this. I was blown away by this study. So you want to tell the results of this study?
I was blown away by the study as well, being a millennial, and so embedded in this generation because it's so much what I focus on a day-to-day basis. I would have never in a million years thought that this article would have been published, because who would have thought that kids today or millennials today would pick social media and social networking over sex, meaning that kids today can't resist the urge to either interact with Twitter or Facebook or any social media account over the urge to have sex.
I'm speechless. I don't know how to explain that. Can you explain that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought was, this has to be a joke. And then my second thought, after I really had to read this article at least 3 times, and this is what I started to break down from the article. This is what I think, about today's generation. The millennial generation is so engrossed with social media sites, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn. We're so immersed by the cyber world that some people even take on a different persona when they're interacting through these cyber sites. So if you think about it, it takes 2 to tango. Having sexual intercourse means you and one other person, whereas all you need for interacting in social media or the internet is you and your handy-dandy iPhone or your computer, and that's accessible to us all the time. You have to have somebody to have sexual intercourse with. Not every millennial today has that significant other. So amongst this survey, I would love to have known how many people had relationships versus single, and see the drastic difference between that study. Are the single people more likely to not resist the urge of having sex and then choose social media versus the people who are in a relationship? Because if you ask my boyfriend, I don't think he would agree with the survey.
Okay. Well, okay. I would agree with you, except and I don't know that this is part of this study, but my observation is that millennials, or 20-somethings, as we sometimes refer to you, tend not to have as many of those types of relationships. They don't seem to, pair up as much. Or am I imagining that?
No, you know what? It's interesting because last week, it's amazing how so many different surveys really link together. And I find, that there's always some sort of synergy between different topics, but it makes sense to link them all together. Meaning, last week I was looking over a survey that was actually focused on how reality television is affecting today's society. Now, I don't know if you're a fan of reality TV, but I do know it's my guilty pleasure. So I'm pretty aware of some of the reality shows that are on television today.
Well, I'm with you on that, by the way, because I've done shows about it. In fact, my guilty pleasure is Honey Boo Boo.
Oh, mine too. I'm obsessed with her. I love her.
Are you being serious, or you just
No.
Okay.
I'm serious.
Because I love that show. I think that show is absolutely amazing, and people put it down and they deride it as trash. And I say, wait a minute, these people are very different than the rest of us, but you know what? They all seem to love each other, and they don't seem to be really dysfunctional. They're just weird.
That family seems so satisfied and so happy and so self-content compared to all the other snooty, stuck-up, rich people that you see on reality television as well. So I think, although it is definitely extreme, in contrast to what you would call the average American's life today, I think it's really showing the diversity of the American, meaning, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, who are grossed with diamonds just to go to the grocery store. And then you see Honey Boo Boo and her mom going mudslinging or whatever they call it. And they're, it's their fun for the day. And they're literally like parading through the mud on RVs. And it's such a contrast, but that's America for you, I guess.
So, but I kind of derailed you there momentarily. With the point you were making was with the effect on reality TV on culture today.
Yes. So within that study, I found that so many, and it's so interesting because I was trying to find a study on how reality television was affecting society within the millennial generation, but there were only surveys that were geared towards the female population because the female population is seen to have such a deeper effect from reality television than the male generation. Mm-hmm. And what the survey said was that because of reality television, girls are taking sex less seriously, relationships less seriously, interacting face-to-face communication less seriously, and are open to experimenting with drugs and alcohol and other sexual, experiments earlier in life. So think about it. I think that, within reality television, we are seeing a lot of raunchy things. I mean, even The Bachelor pad. This is a show where people are supposed to be finding relationships to supposedly, get married and spend the rest of their life in this happy fairy tale. But they're all screwing each other and screwing each other over and backstabbing and lying and manipulation. And this is what young girls and boys are learning from. Because the fact that we're learning from social media today instead of sitting down with our parents and having open communication, we're not learning things the right way all of the time. So then it started to click for me how I could see that some people were saying that they rather choose social media over sex.
Yeah.
And I think it's because sex isn't as sacred today, and it's so sad, but it's true.
Sex is not what?
Sex is not as sacred.
Not as sacred. Was. Yeah,
that whole concept of waiting until marriage. Like if you say that to a lot of millennials today, they'll laugh in your face.
So it's almost like sex is a commodity readily available if I want it, and actually you end up becoming bored and just disinterested in it. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's not bored and disinterested. I think that the fact that people aren't looking at sex as this, special connection between them and the person that they're in love with. So it's not as big of a deal. It's okay. I can give up sex because social media is something so much more prevalent in everyday life all the time than sex is. But, that's not to say that some of the millennial generation doesn't take sex seriously. I know that, being a millennial and the people that, are surrounded within my immediate world all cherish, the people that they're in relationships with. And I see a trend between people who have great open relationships with their parents and people who don't have that trust factor with their parents. And it really starts, and this is going off to another topic, but it really starts with parents at a young age with their children having, open communication about sex, their body, relationships, loving yourself. I remember I must have been 5 years old, and I was realizing that both, me and my younger brother had different body parts. And I remember my mom saying this to me: your body is your temple. You have to love your body, and whoever you let, see your body or be a part of your body has to worship it like a temple. And I don't think that young girls are getting that message today. And that's what I try to, speak out about on a daily basis, that everybody needs to realize their self-worth. And then this plateaus into sexting and cyberbullying. 1 out of 7 teenagers is sexting today, meaning sending risky, topless, nude, provocative pictures of themselves to whoever, and these pictures are then going viral. And then that is a form of cyberbullying. So all of these topics are so linked together, and it's just continuing to spread the message about anti-bullying, open communication, loving yourself, self-esteem, and hopefully that people through hearing these, positive messages, will start to think twice about, taking that next action. And unfortunately, literally 10 minutes before our interview started, I got a CNN report saying that there was a teenager, her name's Amanda Todd, and she just took her life because of cyberbullying.
Oh, wow.
So this is an issue that we need to constantly be talking about, spreading awareness about, and trying to make sure that this doesn't happen to any other, young teenager. She was 15 years old.
All right. Chelsea, I know you got to go, and I thank you for spending some time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you sound like a really smart, wise woman. Chelsea Krost is a lifestyle millennial generation expert. She's got her own TV and radio show. Her show is called The Chelsea Krost Report. Chelsea was on our 84 Lumber Project Professionals Newsline. Thank you, Chelsea, and take care.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.